All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome to the Smashing Brand Podcast. Today I am joined by the one and only Nick Hughes.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. So for my audience that does not know who you are, how about you tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I am CEO and founder of Founders Live, which is a global platform for entrepreneurship and absolute incredible social community and pitch events that happen in now 20 cities around the world. If you're listening to this or watching this in July, we're in 20. If you're watching it any month forward, we're probably in more cities than that. But it's awesome. I'm really excited to join you today, and I just love helping entrepreneurs as well as I build my company, be an example and an advisor to others. So thank you.
Yeah, so Nick, Founders Live is like, guys, if you've been to a networking event, like you might have some skepticism behind, okay, what are these? Are they really that beneficial? Whatnot? Founders Live is just so much different to me, and there's a few reasons why that is. So I'll just break it down a little bit. So there's like an hour of just networking beforehand.
Yep.
And then there's 5 founders that pitch their product for 99 seconds.
Yep.
Right? Their startup. And then at the end you vote on which was the best pitch. And there's this about Founders Live, there's so many people that go there. Like it seems like it's always jam-packed. There's like 200-300 people.
Yeah.
Very popular. I don't normally see that turnout at networking events, especially in Seattle. And it's just a very entertaining event. It's not like you're just going there to talk to people, but it's really an experience in and of itself. And that's why I'm so excited to talk with you, about building a brand and what that's been like. Because you've really built a scalable business out of Founders Live. You're going to be 20, or you are in 20 cities.
We're in 20 cities. We'll be in 40 by the end of the year. Probably 10 countries. Yeah, it's growing massively.
You've found a way to attract a lot of people events, get a lot of founders excited to be part of the events, and even more importantly, mainly is create a scalable business that get sponsors.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. So, what was the first Founders Live event like? So this is like 4 years in the making, right?
Yeah, first event. So actually the story is, the first event was actually called Feature Friday. It originated in March 2014, was the first event.
Okay.
And, weirdly enough, even back then, the very first event, I had the format which you just described.
Same thing.
I literally started it with that format and realized that there's a really special sauce that has come together. Whether it's 99 seconds, no one is ever bored at the event because you're not seeing someone talk for 10 or 15 minutes. The crowd votes, the engagement, but more importantly, from day one, what I hadn't vocalized but was actually there was, and I'll just go into like core values. Because man, if you're talking about building a brand, I would encourage you to absolutely figure out and like iron in your core values. And so the first one is respect authenticity, which basically means, respect people, them being themselves as you are yourself. But I guess the more underlying aspect of that is inclusion and, making sure that everyone is welcome at the event, but just not being an asshole, right?
Yeah.
And, respect authenticity really creates that welcoming and, very special feeling that you have when you're in Founders Live.
Right.
So that was the first event, but I didn't realize it until about 3 years later, and that's when
that's what you kind of
I used that word, and I was like, it's called respectful authenticity, just being yourself. The second one is what I say is, gather around the campfire. And so really it's about when you're at a campfire and people are telling stories and you're entertaining, and that's what Founders Live is. We're not around a campfire, but we're actually gathering as a community and telling stories. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to figure out what your story is, right?
Right.
And tell it in a short period of time, hopefully. So that's a great core value. The third one is open the door. So you've heard me say this, but it's like, man, do great things for people.
Yeah.
And not ask anything in return. Just by introducing someone to someone else or creating an opportunity, that is incredible value, right? And then fourth is what we say is no name tags, which basically we don't wear any name tags at the event. We're not creating any. Take note. We're not creating any awkward situations, and really just have fun. And look, this is business. And business should not be boring and stale. And if you're talking about building a brand, if you are able to identify 4 things like that, and then put them in stone, and then talk about them like in front of a crowd of hundreds of people,
that gets them excited.
Dude, it's probably the number one thing I've done to create that brand. Yeah, this is awesome.
That's really exciting, Nick. So, your first turnout, how many people showed up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe there is I think we got like 60 or 70, and
wow.
We now get about 250, maybe roughly 250 to 300 people.
Lots of people, and they're cool too.
Yeah. So, but most events we see in other cities. So now we're expanding. We're in many cities in the U.S. as well as Africa and Canada, and then we're launching like Singapore and Buenos Aires, Argentina pretty soon. So those first events usually have about 50 to 75 people. And then it just
a brand new city?
Yeah, first event. If they do well marketing, and then it just grows from there. Yeah.
And so I think the crowd might be wondering, how the hell are you doing this? How are you expanding to new cities? Who are you working with?
Yeah. I'm actually the only full-time person in Founders for not very much longer. I'll start hiring some people, but honestly, the way we expand is we find the team in those cities, and we've what we call a city leader that we find. I interview them, and usually I get connected. A friend or someone refers them in, and they're like, "Hey, very interested in this opportunity. They want to launch the event." And sometimes we post about launching in a new city, and then we'll see the post. And then I interview them, and then we onboard them. We have an agreement that we sign, and then at that point, that's a remote team that is building that city. It's very similar to like Start Grind or whatever. And so then we give them. We have a huge packet of information. Get up and running. And this is another aspect. Figure out. Have a standardized documentation. And this is. I literally have an A to Z playbook. And so with our brand, here's what you need to do. Here's what was proven in the past. Just
here's what works. We've already been to cities. This is what you got to do.
Don't try to recreate the wheel. Just bam, do this, and that's been a huge blessing. So as we onboard them, we establish what's the launch process, which is usually about 1 to 2 months. Find a venue, get a date going, they just start talking about startups, and then they just start spreading it around, and all of a sudden it's just an event that just starts going.
So you go to a new city, somebody's totally enthusiastic about what you're doing, and essentially they're kind of running a Founders Live event for free, essentially. Right? So it's powerful because people wouldn't normally do that unless there's a huge value proposition that goes along with that. So what is the value you provide to these community leaders?
Oh yeah. Well, if you think about it, what you're doing right now, or what someone desires to do on social media is really be an influencer, to be a leader. And my pitch to a city leader is, look, if you do this for 2 years in your city, you're one of the most connected people in the city. Because I'm there.
That's a huge value proposition.
Yeah, and so we find. We push out messaging and blog posts. We're looking for a city leader, and that specifically is calling out a specific person. They are looking for, they want to increase their influence. They want to be a leader in their city. They want to get to know a ton of entrepreneurs and founders, and they have community in their heart. And man, some people might say that and be like, it's not me, but a lot of people are like, I want to do that, and they then jump on board and they say hey, I would love to do this. And so I think it's just looking for the right person. Think about this for a second. we have ambassadors around the world now building the brand for us.
Yeah.
And that's what any entrepreneur, and especially when you own a brand, your like desired outcome is to have people around the world talking about building your brand without you having to do anything.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Marketing.
Yeah. So weirdly enough, our cities around the world is just our kind of ambassador program in a way that they get personal benefit of it, just from being associated with it, being the leader in that city, and people look up to them in their cities as well.
So you know a lot about events marketing, and events are huge. The rise of meetup.com, Eventbrite, and stuff like that. For anybody that's like looking to start an event or something like that, and I'm wondering about how do I get people to show up to my event or whatnot, what did it take for you at first to get people to show up, and what does New City mean?
Yeah. A lot of it early on, man. Honestly, I had a good network of friends and founders, but early on, man, I would just send personal emails, and I would say, man, hey, would love to see you, I'd love to see you on Thursday, link to the event.
Totally.
And I'm not trying to guilt trip them, but it's like, hope to see you there. And then, we built a distribution list, pushing out the announcement or the invite to the event every single week. Like, I just push it out usually on Wednesdays or Thursdays.
I get a lot of emails from
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and you push it out, and it's almost like you should depend on a Founders Live invite to an event here in Seattle every Thursday. Sometimes it's Wednesday, but I usually try to do it about the same time, which is around mid-morning, like 10 or 11 a.m., because people are going to they might receive it, they might be at lunch and they'll get it, or they'll at least see it not later at night when they just don't pay attention. So, just being consistent on your marketing and messaging communications. One of the absolute best things we have done is, you get this too, where it's the early bird tickets.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, so here in Seattle, we have, when we announce a new event, so our event is on Thursday, and so next Tuesday, I will announce the next Founders Live Seattle. And I will announce and say, because we charge $10, but it'll be free early bird tickets. This last month, we put 125 or maybe 150 out, 125 out. They were gone in 2 hours.
Yeah, so whenever I get that email, I immediately
you
stop what I'm doing and I buy a ticket.
And that's the benefit of just being on that, aware, and you're loyal, and you're like, I'm gonna get my free ticket. That after that, literally 2 to 3, 4 hours later now, they're now $10. So I think that's a unique. We charge for the event. Some cities don't charge. But just putting that urgency is a huge thing.
So why do you give away so many free tickets?
I care more about the room being full, so people can enjoy the event, versus we need to make a buck, and that's just a big thing. Obviously we have to run a business, and event ticket sales are not our main business model. We clearly charge mostly to make sure that we're attracting people that are serious, and because you have to manage. We would probably get 400 or 500. RSVPs if we didn't charge for it. Can't do that in the space that we're at. So,
monitor them if you could.
Maybe. I think. Look, Founders Live doesn't need to have 1,000 people in Seattle to attend the event, because I think it's going to start losing some of the special sauce. So, my goal is to get it about 3 to 350, and it depends on where we're at in terms of venue. But we'll monitor that and see how that goes. But I want to keep a great community, high quality audience, with grow it, but remain and retain that quality audience, versus just 1,000 or 1,500 people that actually are not
There's
cool.
something about paying for it, right?
Yeah, paying for it. Look, if you have a paid ticket, you're going to get 80% attendee ratio.
Yeah.
If you have a free ticket, it might end up being about 60 or 50. So, you want to look at that. Paid tickets might even be at 90 or 100%. But if you're offering a free ticket, there's a lot less,
less serious about
they're
it.
less serious. They're like click, and then it's nice day to day, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go get happy hour somewhere else.
So you want the most engaged
Yeah.
audience. That's like your most valuable asset.
For sure.
So I think this is a great segue into kind of say you're not trying to make a living off ticket sales. It's with really what Founders Live, your business model, relies around sponsors and whatnot. So starting from the beginning, what was that like getting your first sponsor, and how have you been able to leverage that since?
Yeah, so the main business model of Founders Live is local and global sponsors or partners, and then we'll be building out. It's in the end it is a media company. I view it, and one part of it is a media company. So we'll start developing some some strong quality advertising and brand positioning.
Yeah.
But getting the first sponsor really is just about one. You have to have conviction, and when you go for the sale, if you will, you really need to let them know like how powerful this is and how great the event is.
Yeah.
And then the second part, if they're not ready to like purchase initially, you just get them at the event. Like, hey, I get it. How about next month? But this month, show up and feel it, right?
Yeah.
If you just show up and you're like, if you're thinking about sponsoring, just walk in the room, look around, and ask yourself, do we want to be a part of this? And most of the time it's, oh my gosh, yes. We just need to figure it out. But so I think
good tactic. I like that.
Yeah,
Get
like,
them in the room.
Get them in the room. Like, don't go for the first sale like on the first meeting. They don't know what they're buying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're putting on an event with sponsors, they need to experience or at least understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, we're gonna pay $500 or $1,000 for this for what? We don't even know.
You really have to know your value proposition. So really what I feel Founders Live brings to the table is there's a lot of professional tech people in the room, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of your self-response, like, hey, I'm putting you in front of all these other people, which is why I you should sponsor the event.
Yeah. The term I use is influencers, business owners, and decision makers. And if you think about that, like if you're a law firm or if you're a marketing firm or a design firm or development firm or whatever, you want to make sure if you put your brand somewhere that you're putting it in front of a market that is for sure your target market, but they're going to make a decision. Like they're a business owner, they influence people. I need to be in front of them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I just say. It's like, look, we're attracting 250, 300 people now. These are like the up and coming startups and companies in Seattle. You probably want to be there if you want to be in front of the tech people. They're looking for jobs. They're starting companies, and and then putting your brand associated with Founders Live. I just say it, like it's special. Like
it's different.
It says something about your brand.
Yeah.
If you are sitting alongside Founders Live, and they're going to make their own decision. But that's usually what I say. And it takes confidence, but you got to say it.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you start off, first event, 60, 70 people, and then all of a sudden you're in, 4 years later, you're all of a sudden you're in all these different cities. You create a scalable business out of it. And you also have, the Founders Live website, which is where people can vote. So it's almost turning into like a digital product in a sense. Not the event, but just the way you're kind of engaging with the event. So what's kind of the future of this brand at Founders Live? How do you see it turning into, or whatever you can share?
Man, I'll tell you what, my vision is to be the biggest entrepreneurial brand in the world.
Okay.
Like, I actually think, I've been using the term like the Nike for entrepreneurship, which I don't think that there is right now. I think that there could be, I think that there's a huge hole in the market to connect the various innovative, entrepreneurial, creative communities around the world. Like, some people might be watching this outside of the U.S. and those are quite disconnected to Seattle, Silicon Valley, New York, and others.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. But like with Founders Live, that allows us to create a platform of global entrepreneurship and have these cities do these events.
Right.
But we're starting to live stream them, and so our goal is to be the destination that really does connect entrepreneurs around the world, startups, showcasing the talent coming out of those cities, connecting them with resources, investors, companies, like possible corporations that would maybe want to partner or acquire. So, I mean, that's honestly the vision is it becomes definitely more of a digital experience because as the community and website grows in membership as well as usage and partners, but the local events will always be there because they're kind of the feeder that happens locally and people can meet each other. That's actually get more important as we get more digital. More
the
important.
Offline events,
man. But they may become more special. But then the day-to-day, week-to-week stuff is through the online community and platform, and I think that's the way it comes together.
Cool. So a lot of people that are watching are probably they're entrepreneurs or working somewhere, but they're interested in building a brand, maybe interested in entrepreneurship, doing their own thing. Nick, I want to know, as far as the success of Founders Live, I want to know what about it regarding you as an entrepreneur has made your success, and Founders Live and the way you run it. So let's start with you. What are the traits of an entrepreneur that you have that have made you successful?
Yeah. Look, if you know my full history, I mean, I started my first real startup was in 2011, and we tried to build that, and definitely fell flat and all in my face, and so I learned a lot. Your first attempt at a startup is most likely not going to be the successful one. And that's actually not only okay, but almost required. And I'm not saying that if you start something, you're not going to be successful the first time, but it might, or most likely, that's going to be the deal. And so I feel like over time, I've really created not only like the thick layers of skin to like do this, full time in a great way, but made a lot of connections and really understood the purpose behind what I'm doing. And I think when you start looking at it, it took 5-6 years to actually then get to the starting point of Founders Live.
Right. All those other experiences kind of led up.
They add to it. They're just the way that they've formed myself, and so you can't pull Nick out of Founders Live and have it be the same. But my goal is to get Founders Live to the point that I don't necessarily have to be front and center. I don't know when that is. But yeah, I mean, my unique vision has really formed the company. But I think it's starting to take a life of its own. And that's, again, the core values. Give it the DNA so it can be its own thing. Versus, and I just use Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, he's awesome, he's great. And I don't know the workings of his business specifically, but, I think his name is very well, that's the name of the company. VaynerMedia. And so if Gary decides to check out for any reason whatsoever, you're losing a huge, personality and actually the CEO and the leader. And I don't know right now if I left Founders Live, if there would be the muscle and the energy to push it forward. My hopes would be the case, but I think over time that will get to the point. I honestly think I'm already like looking at it like, okay, there's enough. Like, the momentum is there. The founder, like, God forbid if I got hit by a car, like if I died for any reason, if I was not around, I actually think Founders Live would continue to grow. I don't know if it would be at the vision level that I have, but yeah, I think clearly it took me to start it, but I hope that the leadership in the cities and everyone that we can bring in can take it and
duplicate you.
Right? Duplicate me, or at least like I don't want to be the sole face for 40 years or whatever is out there. Like, I don't need to be that. So I think if entrepreneurs are going to create a brand and they're going to be a huge like the face of it, make sure you have a plan to grow the thing bigger than your personal brand. That's a big lesson.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And there's something also I feel that's really important that's made Founders Live a success, which is having a unique value proposition. Right? Founders Live is so much different than a lot of other networking events. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs whether they're creating a new product or event-based business around having a unique value proposition?
Oh, totally. I would simply say, look at your competition and actually pretty much do the exact opposite. And if you think about that for a second, you know, there's of course things you want to, you know, like, you know, basic business principles and how you maybe create your company is going to be fairly similar. But in branding and in what you stand for, make sure that you've carved out a corner that people can totally say like, oh, that's, you know, that's that company and that's why they're different. You know, for Founders Live, obviously 99 seconds, like I don't see anyone else doing that branded thing, and we kind of start owning that number. The core values clearly, and then just the way that we've created thus far this brand, the vibe, the events, the way that it just, I mean, the whole package is very unique, and I made sure that from the beginning that was quite a bit different than every other pitch competition or event, and you know we're going to continue to do that. But I just think like, look, you be bold and be different, because why the hell would you want to create the same, literally the same product as 10 other things, but we're cheaper?
Right.
Hey, buddy.
That's not what you want to do, in my opinion. If you want to stand out and be successful, don't just create a copycat and try to run the tails of another company that you think is a good idea.
Yeah, and I would add maybe the unique value proposition can lie not only in the business itself, but even the person running it, right?
For sure. I mean, you know, as a leader, know your unique capabilities and your talents, and you know whether that's you have an awesome podcast, we'll like run with that. Maybe you write really well. There's people out there in Founders that just are incredible writers, and they just have a great blog.
Yeah.
You can kind of wrap stuff into that. Maybe you are great on video. Or maybe you're just like well known in the development community as an incredible engineer, and you know people will start following you because of that. But figure out those talents, and as an influencer, you got to leverage those. I mean, why would you not?
Right.
So leverage those, and then the brand can start building. But like I said before, you got to create values and characteristics that are unique to the brand, not to you as a person.
Right.
Because you need to have a distance between them. It's like it will be very tough if you're a person that's trying to create a business and you're just using your personal name.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Selling the same stuff as everybody else.
Yeah, and now you're like, oh, I have to be there all the time. My name is attached to it. Like, you know, it'd be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's personally taxing.
You don't want the brand to rely on you.
No, because once you hire people, they're going to work.
That's the point, right? To step away from it.
Totally.
So you're building an asset as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great note to end on. Nick, for all you guys that haven't been to Founders Live, you know, either go to meetup.com or type in Founders Live and
yeah, actually, the main trick is just, you know, if you go to Google, just type in Founders Live, you know, your city, and you'll find out if we're in there. But, you know, we're in 20 cities now. But if you go to founderslive.com, you'll see the cities we're in. If you're in Seattle, our next event is Thursday the 26th, and that's at ThinkSpace. And then in August, it'll be, I think, August 24th. So it's probably, the location, we'll release it in a couple days, but yeah, hopefully see you there.
And where else can people find you if they want to connect?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. And you can find me on Founders Live.
Yeah, I'll leave all that in the show notes, you guys, so don't worry about that. Nick, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Appreciate it.
Oh.
I'll catch you guys later.